The All Progressives Congress in Akwa Ibom State has declared its support for the nomination of the MD CEO of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Nsima Ekere, to run for the state's governorship seat. At a solidarity rally in Eket, Akwa Ibom State, party chieftains and supporters called on voters to get their PVCs and make the right choice at the polls.
Akwa Ibom South Senatorial District, with 12 local government areas, including Eket, is the second largest in Nigeria and a major point for politicians in the game of numbers. Here in QIC Primary School, Eket, the mission is simple and clear.
That Akwa Ibom South Senatorial District have embarked on a search for a trusted and credible leadership. A leader we can call our own. Interestingly, that quality of leadership is found in the person and character of our special guest of honor, Dr. Nsima Ekere. Are you supporting me in this call? Do you want Nsima Ekere as governor in 2019?
Chief Don Etiebet, the state leader of APC in Akwa Ibom State, performs the main task of the gathering, presenting the nomination form to the anointed choice, Nsima Ekere, the MD CEO of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC.
I will run on one condition. Only one condition. The first condition and the only condition is that you must agree, because I want to run for only one term. APC! So now, when we go to campaign, let them campaign based on performance.
However, the former governor of Akwa Ibom State and a sitting senator, Godswill Akpabio, drops a hint.
I want to plead with you to make sure that our party is richer. Even though Nsima Ekere is going to be the governor, please go and buy form. Go and buy form for governorship. You are not going to be stopped from contesting. This is democracy. What the Akwa Ibom people are saying today is that Eket Senatorial District should have 2 tenures, and it should end in 2023. Therefore, no matter where you come from, if you are not from Eket, you are contesting in vain.
Not only have these people agreed to support Nsima Ekere as their governorship choice, they're also throwing their weight behind President Muhammadu Buhari to continue for the next 4 years.
Away from election matters to security, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has called for calm among Christian communities across Nigeria over the rate of insecurity in many parts of the country. Professor Osinbajo, who spoke to journalists shortly after addressing the Christian community behind closed doors in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, said the government is doing its best to curb the menace. The Vice President regretted that most of the perennial problems faced across the country are traceable to land ownership and management. He offered an assurance that the federal government will provide abundance of everything that's needed for sustaining farmers and herdsmen.
As you know, what we've tried to do over time is to ensure safety and security across the country. And in the various parts of the country, Benue, Plateau, recently in Zamfara State, where some of these killings have taken place, you've seen the deployment of troops, the deployment of the police. You know, in Benue, for example, I'm sure that you would also have noticed that there has been relative calm in many of these places. And this is on account of the fact that very serious steps have been taken. You know that the special force was sent to Benue, and Plateau also, the Operation Safe the Operation Safe Haven has been there, and so many other deployments of troops and all of that. But most importantly, we're taking steps to address some of the underlying issues As you know, some of these struggles are struggles over land and resources, struggles over water, over pasture and all of that. And it's important for us to address those underlying issues. So that's why we are looking for ways of ensuring that there is adequate provision and that everyone, all of the parties, everybody who is in a struggle for pasture or water, are able to find accommodation.
Let's take a look at some legal matters now. A Lagos State High Court sitting in Ikeja has refused to grant any further delay in the trial of the alleged kidnap kingpin Chukwudumeme Onwamadike, popularly known as Evans, who has hired a new counsel. Justice Hakeem Oshodi insisted on this, while Evans' new counsel, Mr. Chino Obiagu, requested for a short adjournment to enable him study the case file. The trial, which was last held on June the 26th, had been put on hold at the instance of a new counsel, Mr. Noel Brown. The fifth and sixth defendants, counsel Mr. Uzuku and Mr. Emmanuel Ochai, opposed Mr. Obiagu's prayer, pointing out that several adjournments are affecting the liberty of their clients. On his part, the State Counsel, Mr. Haran Adebayo, also opposed the adjournment request and said the state is ready for trial. After the ruling, Mr. Adebayo called the first witness, a police inspector who was part of the IGP response team that arrested Evans and his co-accused and investigated the alleged crime. Further hearing has been adjourned to October the 26th. Evans is standing trial along with 5 others on 2 counts of conspiracy and kidnapping, and they pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Let's cross over to Abuja now. Here's Linda Akigbe. Hey, Linda.
Hello, Ijoma. Welcome to Abuja. Now, 9 persons have been confirmed dead following a boat mishap in Shiroro local government area of Niger State. Confirming the incident, the Director General of a State Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Ahmed Inga, said the boat capsized midway into his journey from Shiroro to Boso local government area. 11 persons are said to have been aboard the boat when it capsized on Monday. The bodies of 2 of the victims have been recovered. 2 persons, including the boat's pilot, survived the accident, although he's said to be in a critical condition. Mr. Inga attributed the accident to flood waves and also added that the boat could have been overloaded beyond its capacity. He says divers are still searching for the remaining passengers.
You are going to a location and the means of transportation there is via water. There are 11 in the boat, so we have 2 survivors. The 9 are presumed dead, and a female with her baby, 5 months pregnant, lost her. Her body has been recovered. Then the remaining people, the search and rescue operation is still ongoing. So we can see how we can look at it. We are available virtually every time. If there is any emergency, we have our partner people across the local government. If there is anything they get across to us quickly, we relate with the boat association. We have our local divers volunteers. If there is anything, we engage them quickly so that we can have a partnership.
And residents of Abuja, the nation's capital, can heave a sigh of relief as the National Space Research and Development Agency has allayed fears of any impending earthquake. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the Director General of the agency, Professor Seidu Mohammed, explains that the tremor is a minor incident with a local magnitude of 3.0. Professor Mohammed assures the residents that the tremor should not cause anyone to evacuate their homes. Our correspondent Gloria Mezuki now reports.
What I saw is boo! Both the house where I'm sleeping, I just get out.
Residents recall their shock and paralyzing sense of fear days after an earth tremor hit several parts of Abuja. When Channels Television visited some of the affected areas, it was hard to see evidence of the tremor on the buildings, but not on the residents.
People are living in fear, and meanwhile, most people are saying the earth is the earthquake or whatsoever that it happened in Japan. There are so many lives we are lost here.
If we know the cause, then we have in mind that maybe now it's a breakage of a stone that happened like that, or maybe they put bomb blast in a desert of Iraq. We'll be away.
Let's government look into this issue and find out what the problem to solve.
The National Space Research and Development Agency called it an earthquake with a local magnitude of 3.0.
Even though we still consider the fractures in Nigeria minor, but at least there's a need for us to increase the intensity of seismic stations to enable us, do more studies and collaborate with the rest of the world.
Blasting activities, according to the experts, is not a major contributory factor, as Nigeria has had a history of tremors across the federation.
Earthquake itself don't kill, but certain things like destruction. If you destroy your house and you are there, then it will kill you. Or if it destroys some power setup and then there is fire everywhere, these are the things that kill. So we will have to find a way of improving our infrastructure so that when even these ones happen, it will not be a serious challenge to us.
As investigations continue to ascertain the real cause of the quake, it is believed that proper monitoring will be a big step towards assuaging fears and perhaps saving lives. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Ahead of the 73rd United Nations General Assembly scheduled to hold from September the 18th, 2018, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Jeffrey Onyama, says Nigeria will be seeking a permanent seat at the UN. According to him, President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to speak on the first day of the meeting. The President is expected to brief the session on a wide range of issues affecting the country, such as eradication of extreme poverty, maintenance of international peace and security, human rights, and climate change. The General Assembly is one of the 6 main organs of the United Nations with equal representation for member states.
We will have to let the international community know what we're doing in our priority areas, security. A lot of countries are fighting with us in the war against terrorism, against Boko Haram. And some of the other challenges that we are facing in our country, we'll share with the rest of the world. Some of the other security challenges in the country, our anti-corruption fight. Of course, Mr. President is the champion, AU champion on anti-corruption. Say something on that, and especially asset recovery. What's happening with the repatriation of stolen loot to the country, where we need the support of a lot of the major countries to help us facilitate the repatriation of these funds. Then, but of course, key to so many things is our economic recovery and growth plan, and in particular, letting the world know that Nigeria is ready for business. That we're doing a lot to make Nigeria a more business-friendly country.